Right here are my sticks, 3/8 by 3/16. Now I'm just inspecting everybody and removing everything that's a bit suspicious. And I'll use the long pieces for the top part, and then everything that's left over will be the small sticks everywhere. To pre-curve the cap rib for the top cap rib of the rib. So I'm using the jig that I made on another video. Here's the result. I think it's cool. So that's going to be my pre-shaping for installing in the rib. And then I took the time to calculate all these angles very simply with just using a ruler, getting a tangent to where we have a contact here, and just using like an angle finder. I was able to find the best angle. This was very easy with this ruler and this particular type of angle finder. Alright, so these are my sticks. So I've decided to use my sliding table on the table saw, and I just put the correct angle with my angle finder, staple the scrap piece of wood there, and then I just go and do zip zip and then zip zip here, referring to a line, and then all the sticks are done. Alright, so there's my original. I've sealed the edge with crazy glue, CA as we call it. Made strips of wood, the correct thickness, 375 thou. Now I'm just cutting him into square. One thing I find cool is that, see, I had a small flaw here in the middle of my piece. So I started cutting here and then went outward, always in an effort to lose the end grain. So the end grain is still good, but I've marked all of the ends grain. So now, and I'm lucky for this one, once I'm at my mark, this piece will be just off cut and thrown away, which will make this edge a fresh edge. Okay, so I've just used my small jig in the hole there. I put it flat in the back and then drew it with a 0.7 lead pencil. And you know what? Since I've made the nose piece flat, contrary to usual, this one is flat and this is flat, and I'll be cutting off the cap strip a bit rounded. So that's it. With the belt sander, I'm able to make this line perfect with this, so I don't even need that screw. Okay, so now I've decided that my nose rib, has not much space to hold it. It needs to be precisely where it needs to be. So I've decided to put two 23 gauge staples right through into the wood, and then after it'll be easy to pull out and just remove them up. So that'll make easy to glue it in place. So I was thinking of putting these cam, which works really well. But if I do, I'm gonna have to just glue this and then wait for the gusset to go on top. I don't want this, so I'm gonna just put two stationary blocks lower than this surface, and I'm gonna insert two wedges, which is gonna do the same tension here. So I'll be able to put my my gusset right on top of it. Okay, here's the second version. So those are two wedges, and they put tension where we need it. Okay, so here's this procedure I'm using. So first put my pre-curved cap strip on top in its place. Then I use a Zona saw or a razor saw to cut the lower angle of this piece here until it fits perfectly. Then I take my nose rib, I very precisely put it in place, put two 23 gauge pins. I also use one of these very inexpensive scale
to measure my correct amount of epoxy. I think it's a lot more precise. I also check, once I'm done, once in a while, I always check, make sure that I'm always equal here. Make sure that's, I guess, the second safety. Make sure that I'm always good with the ratio. In there. Then, with all my numbered pieces of wood, I wet each end grain, and then I put it right here. So then that gives it time to penetrate. Because in another video I made, it seemed like, well, not it seems, it just sucks it all up, the glue, and then it makes a dry joint. So I put a big blob there, let it sit, and do everybody that I'm going to be needed to do this. And then, of course, I put these guys in there. What I've made is that I only have blocks on the exterior, so I'm always pushing against the exterior. So then, even if there's minute difference in thickness of my cap strip, the exterior of my rib will always be the same. So I put all of those clamps on the exterior. Once I've put glue on all of these edges, I come back here, and then the same here. I put some glue here. Don't need to squish it yet. Same on this end grain here. Then I know where it's going to be contact, so I just wet down all of these edges, and then I come back. I take these pieces. If some parts are still a bit dry, which usually they are, I put a bit more on top, and then I install it in place. You just slide in place. Make sure you put all your a small clamp on each piece of wood. I can put a clamp, so then it's going to be all in the same place. Once this is done, I know where each of my gussets are going to end up because they're all drawn here. So same thing, I wet down all of the surface contact everywhere. Again, the fact that I'm doing it everybody together first and then come back, it gives it time to penetrate before there's pressure on there. Then I take all of the different size gussets I need, and same thing, I pre-wet them also, and then just drop them in place on top of everybody. Still not clamping anything, they're just there. Then I come back and just put the least amount of staples, so to make sure it's exactly where I need it to be. Once it's stable, and I know it's not going to be moving, then I take the clamps and I clamp with my table here. So I've raised my my rig jig off the floor so I can easily clamp it. I believe this is Larry did it this way, and I think it was a good idea. And it's easy to transport also, but it's still stable. And then once you're done, that's what you get. The packing tape that I've used here is perfect. There's just nothing sticking to it at all whatsoever. As you can see here, it's doing really well. Then of course I'll be just scratching the surface and adding the second gusset.